is 666. So this is where we get the infamous 666. And we went over what this means. What does it mean?
The Hebrew.
It's the satanic trinity. It's the represent. Why 6? Why not 5? Why not 3? Why not 12?
6 is the number of the beast.
Where do you get that from?
From the creation story, the 6th day of creation, God made beasts.
Ah, on the 6th day, God made the beasts of the field. Who or what else did he create on the 6th day?
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve. And he charged them to have dominion over the beasts of the field and the birds of the air and all of that, right? You know, I was meditating on this not too long ago. And again, I want to share something with you because we're going to get to chapter 21. We're going to get to chapter 21 one way or the other tonight. I'm just belaboring this a little bit because it's the more, frankly, the more sensational part. Everyone knows about 666, it's the devil's number, blah, blah, blah. And you know, that's all very popular, but that's not what this is. There's nothing necessarily inherently evil about the number 6 or anything like that. You know, let's not get superstitious. But what this represents, it's a symbolic number, just like all the numbers in the book of Revelation tend to be symbolic in nature. This represents 666. There's 1 6 for the devil, 1 6 for the Antichrist, 1 6 for the false prophet. Why 6? Because that is the number of the beast. It's when the beasts of the earth were made, along with man. Okay? Mankind is sort of the hinge in between God and creation. Okay? God made man and infused him with a soul and made him greater than the beasts of the field. When mankind fell from grace, when they fell into sin, what happened is the whole creation went topsy-turvy. And I mentioned this before. What ends up happening? Mankind should be ruling the beasts of the earth. And what do they end up doing? Worshipping the beasts of the earth. Right? Early paganism, Egyptian mythology, what are they worshiping? Crocodiles, falcons, scarab beetles, all kinds of animals. When the children of Israel got to Mount Sinai and Moses was on the mountain and he wasn't coming back, what did they make? Golden calf, an animal. They started worshiping images of animals. What should be the rightful order? The animals should be worshiping us. You know what I'm saying? See, idolatry is just the reversal of everything that's human. It's when we become less than the animals when we're involved in idolatry. Did you ever think of that? Because we're worshiping the animals when we should have dominion over them. Well, we don't do that nowadays. We don't build statues and worship Anubis and Horus and Ra and all that, right? So that doesn't apply. This is old school stuff, right? No. Anything that takes the place of love of God is idolatry, and as a result, it makes us less than human. Your slavery to sin makes you less than human. That's not what you were intended to do, my brothers and sisters. That's the real evil of sin, is that it takes us and puts us in servitude to something other than God. You following me? And when we do that, we're not fully human. We're not fully human. Here's what I was meditating on. I was thinking, You know, God made Adam and Eve. He put them in the Garden of Eden. He told them to guard and protect it. Right? Okay, Admar and Shamar, the Garden of Eden. Now, we traditionally understood that as to till and work the ground, as if God made Adam and Eve the gardeners of the Garden of Eden, as if he couldn't get angels to do that. Why did God make man a gardener? Ever wonder about that?
Never thought of that.
In his
I just
image.
thought
I mean,
roll around.
why not just let everything run? Well, why does it need to be gardened? Ever thought about that? Well, for one, as I mentioned before, that's a misunderstanding of those two Hebrew words, because those same Hebrew words are used in the book of Numbers, chapter 3, where Moses gives charge to the priests, and he says, Admar and Shamar, the temple, guard and protect it. Same idea, same words that God gave to Adam and Eve. And so I got to thinking, God didn't make Adam and Eve to be gardeners. That's not what they were guarding and protecting or tilling, if you will. What did God do? God made them, put them in the center of creation, and said, guard and protect this relationship I have with you. They were to guard and protect the intimacy that they had with God. And it clicked like a bright light. I don't know if it makes sense, if it's making sense to you, but it's like, that's why it's called the fall. Is because they didn't guard and protect what God had given them. This special relationship with him in his creation. They gave it up. And I go, well, where did this come from? Because it's like when you look at the book of Revelation chapter 21, what happens? We end up in the Holy of Holies again, the New Jerusalem. Remember? It's shaped like a cube, just like the Holy of Holies. We come back into that intimacy again. That's the end of the book. We lose it in the beginning, but we gain it in the end. And what is the New Jerusalem? It's not a place. It's not, the Garden of Eden isn't a garden, a place that they lost. It's the intimacy with God is what they lost. It's that intimacy with God that they had to guard and protect. When Moses gave those same words to the priests, he was saying, guard and protect this relationship you have in being my priests, in keeping the sanctuary holy. Do you hear what I'm saying, my brothers and sisters? I mean, to me, it was a big deal, you know, to get this. I was like, oh, I get it. We weren't made to be gardeners. We were made to guard and maintain this relationship. And what happens? The devil comes in and says, oh, you don't need this. God's holding back on you. Go ahead, you know. Take, eat, you know. See? And so the whole journey back to that relationship is just that. God gives you the grace to be holy. And what does he tell you to do? Guard and protect it. Guard and protect this great relationship we have. Don't give it up for sin. Amen?
Amen.
It's the same thing that he told Adam and Eve. Guard and protect this relationship I have with you. And when we fall, what do?
We broke it.
Get up and go to confession and come back. Because we realize that this grace is precious. We guard and protect it. It was like, I get it now. It's how the whole thing comes together, Genesis and Revelation. What God gave to Adam and Eve was this precious relationship with him. He walked with them in the cool of the day. He walked and talked. They had an intimacy together. And God gave them dominion over the whole earth. For all the earth is mine, God says, and he gave it to them. And they gave it up for sin. Sin is not guarding and protecting that precious gift that God gives us. This is why we say in a baptismal christening, when we put the white garments on the infant, or at the Easter vigil, when the newly baptized come in white robes, we say, may you present this again to God. And I'm paraphrasing. May you present this garment unspotted back to God. God gave it to you. Now you give it back to him unspotted. You hear what I'm saying? And that's our journey. That's what we guard and protect. We admar and shamar. That's the relationship. Amen?
Amen.
And so the rest of this satanic trinity, this Antichrist and all of this, is a symbol in here that is the pull of the world away from that relationship. That's what it is. So whether we're talking about the big boy, A, at the end of time, or the little ones, the spirit of the Antichrist is the same. And it is, you are God, you do what you want, when you want, as you want, and do as you please. It's this old satanic lie that's been given to us since the dawn of time. You will be as gods. And every time we sin, we say that. I'm God, not you. And what God is saying is that I love you, I created you. Guard and protect that relationship we have, that special relationship we have. It's the same thing that he told Adam and Eve. Same thing. Oh, I said, I have to tell Bible study about this. So now you know. There's a whole lot I could say more about this. 666, this whole idea of, it's the number of a name, and what name is that? Modern scholars have spoken about that it's a secret name for Nero, because in Greek, when you add up all the letters in Caesar Nero, you get 666. I tend to think that that's a modern interpretation of that. And the reason I say that is because Saint Irenaeus spoke extensively about this idea in his Against Heresies. He spoke about it being a name of somebody, and he gives several names that would fit this. If the person's name was Tom Smith, he would add up to 666 in Greek. If his name was Anthony the Great, it would be 666 in that. And so he basically says, don't waste your time trying to figure this out in advance. You'll know it when it happens. If it had meant Nero, I don't think he would have been shy about saying that. And he doesn't. So it makes me a wee bit skeptical about modern scholarships trying to imply that into the text. Most of the time it's used as a proof to show that the book of Revelation was written earlier than 90 AD. I have no problem having it being earlier than 90 AD, but I think that's a forced proof in my mind. Because if it were true, the earliest Christian apologists would have said something. And Irenaeus lived well 140 years after Nero. He had nothing to be afraid of. You know what I mean? And if it meant that, he would have said that as an example. And he doesn't. And we don't hear anything about that in the early fathers that I know of. Now, if someone has other information, let me know. All right? But it does appear that whomever this person will be, apparently, that when his name is added up, it will be 666. Just a thought. So don't go trying figuring it out like Irenaeus said. You'll know it when it happens. Okay? And it's not going to be embedded in the back of his skull either. That's, again, Hollywood. It's not, it has nothing to do with it. No. Okay? And again, don't try looking for people in world history today that's going to be, I mean, I still get links from people saying, Chip, what do you think about this? You know, and it says Donald Trump's the Antichrist. And I'm like, I don't think so. No. You know, the last administration, Obama was the Antichrist. You know? I think every president that I can think of that's been in office since Ronald Reagan has been the Antichrist. Oh, and by the way, Ronald Wilson Reagan, 666. I actually heard that when I was in high school. It's a proof. Don't believe anything you hear on the internet. Let me just say that. Don't believe anything. Any of it. It's all lies. Come to Bible study and find the truth. How's that? That's the only thing on the internet you can believe. How's that?
Amen.
Amen. It's just that we live now in a world of sensationalism and quick bits, and literally anyone with a camera can get onto YouTube and spout off their beliefs, and it can seem confusing. It can seem very convincing. There's some very knowledgeable people I've seen on the internet. I'm like, you know, if I wasn't a Catholic, I might be interested in this. This looks pretty interesting, you know? Oh, by the way, I believe someone was saying the end of the world was, when was it, the end of April?
No.
Like the 27th or something. I think we missed
I'm
it.
so glad I didn't. Nostradamus?
Oh, Nostradamus. I'm